Hi, we're here in the city of Georgetown, and this is an important stormwater control structure. This system collects stormwater from all four cardinal directions and routes it out after some preliminary rough screening out into the surrounding estuary. You can get an idea from what you see in this water here that even this rough screening is pretty important to do. You can see our friend here, the unfortunate gator, next to a piece of flotsam there. That's somebody's improperly discarded plastic bag. Also note the sheen of the oil that's ubiquitous with stormwater, because this is runoff of roads, cars through axles and leaky oil pans, release various hydrocarbons throughout the landscape. It washes into these sorts of systems with the storm water, and then it floats on top. Also note other plastic debris throughout this system. A lot of foam particles, a lot of pieces that would have been that plastic cup that blew out of the bed of your truck a few days ago. Or that pack of cigarettes, those cigarette butts. Whatever it may be, if it's non-biodegradable, often it's floating, and it's floating through these systems. If we look at the other end of the system, we see a very significant sediment deposit. This system here is meters deep. This sediment, though, can be deposited relatively quickly, considering the amount of land that's cleared and the amount of erosion we cause as humans as we clear and develop the land. So that is sediment, probably a few meters deep there, high in heavy metals and hydrocarbons, as well as various types of plastics. That's contaminated sediment that needs to be landfilled if it's to be removed, and for this system to maintain its functionality. While this sediment that we're looking at here is a pollutant source, it's most likely of elevated toxicity. It needs to be landfilled at this point. Even though this is suboptimal, it is important for this sediment to be removed before we get to the more sensitive, unengineered systems that are downstream. So this rather unattractive basin is serving a purpose that is somewhat improving the water quality and decreasing downstream impacts. The question may be, can we do better? Yes, we can certainly do much better than this, but this is doing a job right now. So right now we're looking at the outfall of this stormwater detention pond, this highly engineered stormwater detention pond. Note the thickness of the oils on top of these waters, and it gives you an idea of what we need to remove from these waters, but more importantly, what we need to stop from getting into our waterways to begin with. These sorts of systems, really, if we're doing a good job of environmental stewardship, they're not necessary, because we're not discarding trash where we ought not to. We're not littering. But sadly we do, and so these systems have some pretty important utility downstream. Sadly, this system does not have, from what we can tell, any sort of system to help remove the oils and the greases that you see floating on top of the water column. Those are going to make it out of the system. But this does have a bar rack which will be removing some of the larger items. So let's walk over here and take a look at the bar rack. So water here would be flowing through from left to right through those bars. It will catch the larger elements, both sinking and floating, as it passes through this outfall. Then these teeth, whenever this mechanism is engaged, scrape that up the length of the bars, and then it is dumped over here in these basin trash receptacles, which are then emptied by municipal workers.